Chapter 1. The Innate Spiritual Root, a Glimpse into the Past. High above the layers of clouds, I meditate on the Tao with sincerity. Beyond the realms of heaven and earth, I shall preside as the esteemed teacher. Millennia hence, I shall commence my second discourse within the Zhixiao Palace, enlightening the ignorant and revealing the path of myriad spirits. All who are fated may come to listen. On this day, a voice of profound mystery reverberates through the hearts of all beings in the primordial world, inciting a wave of excitement. For all know the voice belongs to the only saint of the age, the foremost individual since antiquity. Has the time for Hong Jun's second discourse arrived so soon? At the foot of Mount Buzhou, a sigh escapes, and upon closer inspection, one finds no living creature present, save for a gourd vine taking root there. This vine is a vibrant green, its surface interwoven with various principles of the Tao, emanating a rich aura of innate life. Upon the gourd vine hang 7 gourds, each radiating its unique essence, colored gold, red, purple, white, green, yellow, and blue. This vine is indeed one of the 10 greatest spiritual roots of the primordial world, the innate gourd vine. Each gourd upon it is an innate spiritual treasure. The voice's owner is named Lu Qing. It may be hard to believe, but he was once an ambitious young man in the modern world, determined to marry a wealthy beauty and reach the pinnacle of life. Little did he expect that a simple trip to buy a pack of cigarettes would result in his untimely demise by a falling bell from the heavens. Time passed, and upon awakening, he discovered he was no longer human, but had transformed into an innate gourd vine. Initially, he struggled to accept this transformation into a plant, but as he learned of his new identity's origins, his disbelief morphed into exhilaration. In the primordial realm, one's roots signify their ultimate achievements. The 3 purities, for instance, are manifestations of the primordial spirit of Pangu, born with immense virtues, destined to be saints. One might even call them the illegitimate children of the heavens. Lu Qing mused that, with his innate spiritual root, while he might not rival the 3 purities, he surely belonged to the upper echelons of existence. Alas, during his soul's transmigration, something went awry. His primordial spirit appeared to be damaged and remained in a state of confusion, preventing him from taking form. According to the timeline of Hong Jun's second discourse, it seemed that the calamity of the dragon and phoenix had only recently concluded, and the war of the witches and demons had just begun. This tumultuous era, rife with chaos, was not a favorable time for Lu Qing, who had yet to take form. An untransformed innate spiritual root would be coveted by any who laid eyes upon it. If memory served correctly, after Hong Jun's second discourse, the 7 gourds upon the innate gourd vine would be claimed by the 3 purities in Nuwa. With this thought, Lu Qing felt a pang of fear. He intended to vacate this place and seek a hidden refuge, but it seemed a spatial formation enveloped him, preventing his escape. He had attempted to break the formation multiple times, but to no avail, and thus resigned himself to fully transforming, hoping to gain the strength to shatter the formation. Suddenly, amidst his contemplation, a resounding chime echoed within Lu Qing's consciousness, interrupting his thoughts. Is that the bell? Finally, it has reacted? Lu Qing's expression brightened, and he hastily turned his attention inward, where he beheld an ancient bronze bell. Its surface was marred with rust, adorned with various mysterious and archaic patterns, bearing the marks of numerous external forces, some resembling sword gashes, others knife wounds indicative of unimaginable battles it had endured. What is your origin, and why have you brought me to the primordial world? Lu Qing's eyes sparkled with intensity as he fixed his gaze upon the bell, his expression a blend of complexity, for it was this very bell that had caused his demise in his past life and subsequently transported him to the primordial realm. While others might traverse dimensions with various invincible advantages and backgrounds, Lu Qing had arrived in the primordial world with nothing but this bell, which had remained silent since his arrival, residing within his consciousness until today, when it finally stirred. Boom! As if provoked, the bell resonated once more, its sound echoing from ages long past, and an aura of timeless laws enveloped it. In an instant, Lu Qing felt as though he were caught in a whirlwind, losing consciousness. When he regained awareness, he found himself standing in an unfamiliar realm where boundless powers of law surged chaotically, intertwining causality into an endless river. This river was both desolate and enigmatic, seemingly existing since before the dawn of creation, embodying the origins of all things, leaving Lu Qing feeling small and insignificant. Could this be the legendary River of Time? Within moments, Lu Qing surmised that this was indeed the River of Time, also known as the River of Destiny, characterized by its eternal and boundless nature, encompassing the past, present, and future visible only to those of the highest order. The ancient bronze bell hovered above Lu Qing, enveloping him in an extraordinary power, safeguarding his primordial spirit within. Countless laws and causes struck against the bell, yet it remained unscathed otherwise. With Lu Qing's current strength, even a mere ripple from the River of Time could lead to his utter obliteration. Boom! The bronze bell seemed to awaken a dormant power, emanating a tremendous sound. And then, at an incredible speed, it carried Lu Qing upstream through the River of Time. In the blink of an eye, a millennium passed. As Lu Qing traversed the River of Time, countless fragmented images played before his eyes. But soon he could recollect nothing, as if these images were too steeped in causality and had been erased. That is, after an indeterminate time, Lu Qing's pupils dilated in astonishment, for he beheld a scene that would forever be etched in his memory. A cataclysmic clash of swords and axes, where unimaginable powerhouses engaged in a terrifying battle. Whole worlds were laid waste by the aftermath of their conflict, and countless beings were reduced to ashes. Lu Qing's heart trembled. Such a battle was beyond comprehension. Who were these combatants? When did this occur? Yet, this vision flickered by in an instant, as if it tread upon forbidden grounds, causing the bronze bell to hum ominously, as though resisting some forbidden force. Boom! The bronze bell? Lu Qing nearly gasped, for he had witnessed the bell's form upon that battlefield, where it loomed vast and imposing, exerting an unfathomable force that suppressed the past, present, and future. A mere tremor from it could subdue countless beings, anchoring entire worlds in place. As Lu Qing sought to delve deeper into this revelation, the image shattered abruptly, halting everything in its wake. He felt as though his primordial spirit was on the brink of tearing apart. But fortunately, the bronze bell shielded him, otherwise he would have perished. When Lu Qing regained his senses, he found himself back in the primordial world, at the foot of Mount Buzhou, as if everything had transpired merely as a dream. Was what I just witnessed a glimpse of events from eons past? Returning to the primordial realm, Lu Qing remained unsettled. In truth, most of the images had faded from his memory, yet a few fragmented scenes lingered vividly in his mind, especially the final moment, where he beheld a towering figure clad in azure, their back turned to all beings, their features obscured by an overwhelming force of causality, rendering them unrecognizable. They stood alone within the River of Time, their magnificent form splitting the river in two, severing the past from the future. Whether it was an illusion or reality, Lu Qing felt as though this azure figure had noticed him, even casting a glance in his direction. This bronze bell is undoubtedly the same as the one I saw. Why does it dwell within my being? The more he learned, the more questions arose regarding the time, place, and background of that great battle, as well as the identity of the azure-clad figure. Lu Qing was in the dark. Oh, ancient bell, what is your true origin? By allowing me to reverse the flow of time and witness those scenes, what message do you wish to convey to me? Lu Qing gently caressed the bronze bell, speaking softly to it. As if responding to his inquiry, the bell suddenly quivered, emitting a resonant hum, and soon Lu Qing received information transmitted from the bell within his mind. His eyes gleamed with brilliance, for among the information was a scripture named the Sutra of Boundless Calamities. This scripture was divided into 3 sections: the immortal path, the saintly path, and the third, seemingly sealed within Lu Qing's mind due to its overwhelming causality, remained inaccessible for the time being. The Sutra of Boundless Calamities, Lu Qing murmured, recognizing that this was a scripture of unimaginable significance. What does boundless entail? It encompasses all laws of the world, time, space, causality, infinitely vast, inexhaustible, and beyond calculation. Calming his spirit, Lu Qing endeavored to study this scripture, hearing an enigmatic voice resonate in his mind. Before the heavens and earth existed, the boundless already endured life and death circulate, endlessly repeating, all beings must traverse boundless calamities. Lu Qing was entranced, utterly captivated by the scripture's contents. The immortal path alone was vast beyond measure, containing innumerable profound truths and countless laws, any of which could lead one directly to the Tao. The saintly path was even more cryptic and esoteric, likely decipherable only at a certain level of enlightenment. Who authored this scripture? Lu Qing pondered aloud, unable to deny the profound allure of this text, and in that moment he resolved to cultivate it. Though unaware of its origins or its specific rank among scriptures, he was certain that the immortal path alone rivaled any scripture within the primordial realm. Moreover, there was the saintly path, suggesting it belonged to a category beyond the bounds of the primordial world. In addition to the Sutra of Boundless Calamities, Lu Qing received information regarding the bronze bell's ability to conceal heavenly secrets, a most unexpected delight for him. Within the primordial realm, there existed powerful beings capable of deciphering causality to manipulate others, even causing deaths unseen. Now, with the bronze bell to shield him, he had gained an additional layer of protection. Very well. Since I have arrived, I shall make the best of it. It seems prudent to carefully plan my next course of action. The immediate priority is to take form and acquire the means to protect myself. Lu Qing was not one to indulge in sentimentality since survival was paramount. He would actively strategize to forge a path forward. Chapter 2. The transformation of Lu Qing into a golden immortal in the vast expanse of the primordial world. Countless years have swiftly passed. Within the Zhixiao Palace, the teachings of the honored ancestor Hongjun have concluded, and the 3,000 listeners have each gained profound insights, leading to significant breakthroughs in their cultivation. Among them, the great Pure Laozi, the primordial beginning Yuanshi, the upper pure Tongtian, and Yuhua have been accepted as formal disciples by Hongjun, while the duo of Zhuanti and Jiejing have become named disciples. As the discourse came to a close, the assembly of powerful beings originally intended to return to their sanctuaries to assimilate their newfound knowledge. However, they were suddenly captivated by the sight of two radiant arcs of seven-colored celestial light ascending from the primordial earth, piercing the very heavens. Observing this spectacle, the assembly of mighty beings halted, their gazes drawn towards a certain direction on the primordial land. Simultaneously, at the foot of Mount Buzhou, Lu Qing found himself at a critical juncture in his transformation. His innate gourd vine, his true form, emanated a rich aura of primal life, enveloped in a cocoon formed by the power of causality. This was the shackle bestowed upon all beings by the Tao, and only by breaking free from this binding, shedding his original body, could he emerge reborn, achieving the ultimate leap and successfully transforming. It truly so arduous to undergo transformation. Lu Qing pondered, his metamorphosis proving to be far more challenging than he had anticipated. Could it be due to the fact that my true form is one of the innate spiritual roots? Lu Qing speculated, recognizing that the vast ramifications of his true form's causality were immense. In his past life, he recalled that the innate gourd vine withered away after 7 gourds were taken, failing to transform, as if its only purpose was to serve those 7 gourds and create humanity. Yet now, Lu Qing sought to defy the unseen fates, thus rendering his transformation all the more difficult, with the resistance of causality intensifying. If I cannot even achieve transformation, what future can I speak of? I might as well await death. However, Lu Qing remained undaunted. If granted just a little more time, he was confident he could shatter the shackles and be reborn. There is indeed a being transforming in this place. Just as Lu Qing exerted all his efforts into his transformation, over a dozen figures arrived, each radiating a formidable aura that sent shivers down the spines of all creatures within 1,000 miles. This group was none other than the great powers who had just hastened over from the Zhixiao Palace, and the first to speak was the amiable Hongyun Laozu of the primordial realm. The true form of this being is, astonishingly, an innate spiritual root. A man clad in black robes with a grim expression exclaimed in shock. He was none other than the ancestor Kuanpeng. In fact, he was not alone. The other great powers also glimpsed Lu Qing's true form through the cocoon, even noticing the 7 gourds upon it, all displaying expressions of astonishment, with only a few remaining composed. It appears that this innate spiritual root is on the verge of successful transformation. What a remarkable foundation, what fortunate karma, Yuanshi remarked. Known for his emphasis on foundations and decorum, it was evident from his expression that Lu Qing's foundation had captured his attention. Ahem. What are your thoughts, fellow Taoists? Observing Lu Qing's imminent transformation, Kuanpeng coughed lightly and inquired of the assembled great powers. Each of them was a master of immense experience, having lived for countless eons. Kuenping's implication was clear. Should they intervene to halt Lu Qing's transformation and seize the treasures for themselves? If Lu Qing were to succeed in his transformation and be reborn, it was likely that the innate spiritual root would lose its divinity, rendering any potential acquisition of it rather futile. Moreover, the seven gourds, being innate treasures, were intrinsically linked to Lu Qing. It was feared that their divine essence would dissipate during the transformation. All the great powers were acutely aware of this, each harboring their own thoughts, yet no one dared to speak, for they were all prominent figures in the primordial realm and did not wish to be the first to break the silence, lest they lose face. What is there to deliberate? Is it your intention to obstruct this being's path? Tongtian's words nearly incited Kuenping's ire, as they directly undermined his dignity. Yet Tongtian remained unfazed, indifferent to Kuenping's pride. Merely speaking his mind in essence, he had not regarded Kuenping as a significant figure. Kuenping's countenance darkened, yet he could only suppress his rage in the face of Tongtian's formidable presence, especially with Laozi and Yuanshi also in attendance. Any potential conflict would yield no favorable outcome for him. Kuenping, my friend, heaven bestows the virtue of preserving life. How could we bear to destroy a being's path and jeopardize its existence for the sake of treasures? I believe it is best to let this matter rest. This moment, the amiable Hongyun Laozu spoke once more. Hongyun, what pretense of virtue are you putting on? Had Hongyun remained silent, Kuenping might have managed to contain his wrath, but the moment he spoke, it erupted uncontrollably. Had it not been for Hongyun yielding his position to Jiejing, he would not have been forced to relinquish his mat and subsequently lose the opportunity to become a disciple of a saint. Kuenping wished for nothing more than to eliminate Hongyun, yet he restrained his murderous intent, mindful of the presence of Zenyuanzi and the other great powers. Taking a deep breath, Kuenping turned to the others and said, "Do you all share this sentiment? I concur with Hongyun's perspective." Zenyuanzi, a close ally of Hongyun, was the first to voice his support. Meanwhile, Emperor Jun and Tai appeared hesitant, while Mingyi seemed on the verge of speaking, and Jiejing and Juenti adopted a nonchalant attitude, completely ignoring Kuenping, while Fushi and Yuhua disregarded him entirely. Indeed, it is a matter of the wet and scaly, ignorant of the heavenly numbers. A mocking voice rang out, originating from Yuanshi, who had always held disdain for Kuenping's origins, looking down upon him from the depths of his being. Observing Kuenping's blatant disregard for propriety, Yuanshi felt no compunction in delivering his scornful remark. As anticipated, the moment Yuanshi's words left his lips, Kuenping's face darkened to the point of dripping water. The insult was particularly egregious, and with so many witnesses present, he found himself at a loss for how to respond. "Humph, Yuanshi, your words are rather excessive." While Kuenping remained silent, Tai interjected, feeling compelled to defend himself as he had been drawn into the insult. "Whoever obstructs his path shall be my enemy." Just as the atmosphere grew tense, Yuhua, who had remained silent until now, spoke up. Her words took everyone by surprise, save for Fushi, who gazed at her in astonishment, unable to comprehend her defense of this transforming being. Did she share a connection with him? "What my sister means is what I mean." Fushi's words were succinct, yet they brimmed with wisdom, as if he possessed knowledge beyond the surface. Bang! At this moment, Lu Qing finally broke free from the web of causality, emerging from the cocoon as a figure radiating seven-colored light, having accomplished the ascension of his life and successfully transformed. Simultaneously, an extraordinary phenomenon unfolded. The skies above Mount Buzhou were enveloped in seven-colored auspicious clouds, and various marvels manifested. The 3,000 laws of the Tao resonated, converging into a beam of golden light that directly entered Lu Qing's body. How is this possible? This childish transformation has drawn the celebration of the Tao among the assembly, who was not a paragon of excellence, who stood atop the primordial realm. Yet even they had never experienced such a reception during their own transformations. They had never heard of a being attracting the Tao's attention upon transformation. It was utterly unfathomable. The great powers were left in astonishment, pondering whether this child's origins surpassed even that of the three pure ones. One cannot deny that the form Lu Qing had assumed was indeed remarkable. Verging on perfection, standing 8 feet tall, his figure was slender, his countenance strikingly handsome, with long black hair cascading down his shoulders. The swirling primal life force around him added an air of mystery and sanctity. He possesses the cultivation of an early golden immortal upon transformation. Quite impressive. Tong Tian observed Lu Qing, his admiration evident. Not only him, but even the typically proud Yuanshi nodded in agreement. Indeed, this appearance is commendable. Yuanshi remarked with a smile, prompting Tong Tian to momentarily pause in surprise. Has my second brother's focus strayed somewhat? Tong Tian was momentarily taken aback, having been discussing cultivation with Yuanshi, while Yuanshi seemed to be commenting on appearance. Could it be? Has my second brother? Tong Tian suddenly had an inkling, his expression shifting to one of shock. Meanwhile, Yuanshi remained oblivious to Tong Tian's inner turmoil, his gaze fixated on Lu Qing, growing increasingly satisfied. A golden immortal? To transcend into a golden immortal upon transformation? Could it be that this child's foundation rivals that of us all? As the gathered great powers noted Lu Qing's cultivation, their expressions turned incredulous. It is well known that the deeper a being's foundation, the higher their cultivation upon transformation. For instance, the three pure ones, who were manifestations of the primordial deity Pangu, possessed immense merit, achieving the pinnacle of golden immortal upon their transformation. Yet, although Lu Qing was merely an early golden immortal, his foundation was not unique in the primordial realm, but certainly exceedingly rare. Wait, his cultivation is still rising. Just as everyone marveled at Lu Qing's fortuitous foundation, they witnessed a shift in his aura, which surged from early golden immortal to mid-golden immortal in the blink of an eye. Is it truly possible to break through a realm so swiftly? The corner of Hongyun Laozu's mouth twitched. He had never witnessed such a phenomenon. Even he had taken millennia to achieve a minor breakthrough. Second brother, when we first transformed, we were merely mid-golden immortals. Could it be that this child's foundation rivals ours? Emperor Jun mused, recalling that he and Tai, who were born of the Golden Crows, had been endowed with noble lineage and innate treasures. Yet upon transformation, they had only attained mid-golden immortal. Elder brother, this child possesses one of the 10 great innate spiritual roots. Such fortune is perfectly natural, Tai replied with a calm demeanor, finding nothing particularly strange about the situation. No, wait, his cultivation is still rising. Just as everyone believed the scene had reached its zenith, Lu Qing's aura exploded once more, leaping from mid-golden immortal to late golden immortal in an instant. What's even more astonishing is that the breakthrough was far from over. In just a moment, Lu Qing shattered the late golden immortal realm and ascended to the pinnacle of golden immortal. What terrifying potential! Even Laozi, typically unperturbed, began to show signs of astonishment. Such potential had not been seen in a long time, rivaling that of the three pure ones. Elder brother, have you been moved as well? Hearing Laozi's words, both Tong Tian and Yuanshi gazed at him in surprise. In their recollection, their elder brother was always indifferent, yet he now appeared to harbor a sense of appreciation for talent. This is not even his true potential. Just wait and see. Laozi did not directly respond to Tong Tian's inquiry, but continued to observe Lu Qing quietly. This is the aura of a great Luo golden immortal. How can he still possess such strength? This is inconceivable. As Lu Qing's aura transformed once more, the assembly of great powers could no longer remain seated. The aura of great Luo radiated from his being, a potential that surpassed all present, truly unprecedented and unseen. This child is an anomaly. Were he to be born in our West, how fortunate it would be, Zhuanti lamented, for the West had long been barren of talent. Today, witnessing such a figure emerging from the East, he could not help but feel a sense of regret. A great Luo golden immortal? Lu Qing sighed in relief. This transformation had proven to be more arduous than he had anticipated, yet thankfully, he had succeeded. What is a great Luo? The great Luo is immortal, impervious to all laws, capable of coexisting with heaven and earth, shining alongside the sun and moon, untouched by calamities. Even amidst the current era of formidable beings, a great Luo golden immortal stands as a powerful figure, and in later generations, is revered as a progenitor, standing at the pinnacle of the immortal path. Chapter 3. Truly a pure and innocent being. Junior greets all esteemed elders and expresses gratitude for your protection. Lu Qing reigned in his aura, stepping forward to bow slightly before the assembly of great powers. It must be said. Lu Qing's actions immediately garnered goodwill from the great powers. Originally, most had come for treasures, yet Lu Qing proactively conferred upon them the title of guardians. Such a gesture not only won their favor, but also made it awkward for them to broach the subject of treasures. Should anyone bring it up now, would it not seem like they were attempting to exploit the goodwill shown to them? They were all illustrious figures in the primordial realm. Word of such behavior would surely invite ridicule. Of course, this was merely the perspective of some great powers. Figures like Kuanping and Mingyi may not have shared this view, yet they refrained from speaking due to the presence of the others. It is merely a trivial matter. No need for formalities. May I ask for your name? Yuancher intended to speak, but was unexpectedly preempted by Tong Tian. Junior Lu Qing, I have the honor of meeting the upper pure senior. Lu Qing once again bowed respectfully to Tong Tian. Oh, you recognize me? Tong Tian was somewhat surprised by Lu Qing's immediate acknowledgement of his identity, considering Lu Qing had just transformed and had not yet traversed the primordial realm. Seemingly aware of Tong Tian's curiosity, Lu Qing spoke. Although I have not traversed the primordial realm, I have heard of your esteemed name from other beings. I have come to know that you, alongside Taiqing and Yuqing, are manifestations of the primordial deity Panga's essence. It is said that the upper pure senior's mastery of swordsmanship and formation is unparalleled throughout history. Wherever your sword strikes, myriad immortals bow in submission, capable of ascending to the heavens and subduing the underworld, unmatched throughout time. The great pure senior is not only profound in Tao principles, but also unparalleled in the art of alchemy. It is said that a single pill crafted by him can restore the dead to life, possessing powers that defy even the gods, marking him as the foremost alchemist of all time. The pure Jade Senior is unrivaled in the art of crafting magical artifacts. It is said that any treasure he forges can suppress the great Luo and challenge quasi-saints. Anyone fortunate enough to possess a creation of his would be able to traverse the primordial realm. Invincible, Lu Qing spoke in a steady tone, his expression earnest, exhibiting no signs of sycophancy. Anyone observing him would merely perceive a straightforward account of facts. Ha ha ha, today, I find myself inexplicably inspired. It appears there is indeed someone here with whom I share a fateful connection. Upon hearing Lu Qing's words, Tong Tian's joy was unabashed. For who does not appreciate hearing compliments? Who would have thought you possessed such insight? Yuancher's approval of Lu Qing grew with each passing moment. Clearly pleased with Lu Qing's recent remarks, which had significantly enhanced Lu Qing's standing in his eyes. Well done. Even the usually indifferent Laozi regarded Lu Qing with a smile. Young friend, I perceive that you possess great fortune. Your future achievements are boundless. However, as you have just transformed, the primordial realm is fraught with peril. What are your plans? Should you lack any, I wish to take you as my disciple and journey to the West. May I ask for your thoughts on this? It was none other than Zhuanti who spoke. All present were beings who had lived for countless eons, adept at discerning the appreciation displayed by the three pure ones towards Lu Qing. Thus, he cast aside any concerns about propriety, wishing to act first lest he be overtaken by Tong Tian. Indeed, upon hearing Zhuanti's words, the three pure ones exchanged glances tinged with displeasure, while other great powers regarded Zhuanti with bemusement. Hearing this, Lu Qing remained unfazed, instead addressing Zhuanti with cupped hands. May I inquire whether this esteemed senior is the Zhuanti senior or the Jejing senior? Oh, you have heard of my brother and me? Lu Qing's inquiry instantly brought a smile to Zhuanti's face. Countless years ago, I heard from a bird that in the West, there are two great sages, possessing unfathomable cultivation and immense compassion, dedicated to the revival of the West. They are truly rare figures in this world. Lu Qing spoke without a hint of embarrassment, maintaining a serious demeanor. Indeed, upon hearing Lu Qing's response, both Jejing and Zhuanti could not suppress their smiles, especially Zhuanti, who nearly laughed aloud. Concurrently, a wave of emotion surged within them. For countless years, the two brothers had tirelessly pursued their lofty aspirations of reviving the West, often met with skepticism or ridicule. To their surprise, the one who truly understood their grand ambitions was this young individual they had just met. With each passing moment, Zhuanti and Jejing found Lu Qing increasingly agreeable. Exchanging glances, Zhuanti addressed Lu Qing once more. Young friend, it is evident that you share a connection with the West. Should you become my disciple, you would be recognized as the foremost disciple of our West, inheriting the teachings of the two of us. The two from the West truly. Upon hearing Zhuanti's words, the expressions of the assembled great powers turned peculiar. They had not anticipated that in their efforts to recruit Lu Qing, Zhuanti and Jejing would not only promise him the title of chief disciple of the West, but also agree to take him as a disciple simultaneously. Apprentice, you flatter yourself. The West is a barren land, and such exceptional talent as you would be akin to casting pearls before swine. Are you perhaps taking advantage of his youth and ignorance? In my view, Lu Qing ought to come under my tutelage. Before Lu Qing could respond, Tong Tian could no longer remain seated. His words were indeed a slight against the faces of both Jane and Zhuanti. Lu Qing was a disciple he had long favored, and how could he allow him to be snatched away? The beings of the East should not bow to the West, in my opinion. Lu Qing possesses profound fortunes and extraordinary potential, deserving to enter my fold. As soon as Tong Tian finished speaking, Yuanshi also chimed in, for he too had been contemplating this matter, albeit hesitating due to pride. My golden elixir Dao is in need of a successor. Laozi, with a warm and approachable demeanor, said little, yet his meaning was clear. Ahem, young friend Lu Qing. I am Tai of the Demon Court, and this is my elder brother. Emperor Jun, we both invite you to join our Demon Court. Should you accept, I can promise you the position of Demon Saint, second only to us, allowing you to enjoy all the resources of the Demon Court. At this moment, while the three purities and the two from the West debated, Tai, who had remained silent, suddenly spoke, presenting an offer that was impossible to decline. A Demon Saint? Sharing all resources? Everyone present was taken aback by Tai's enticing proposal. It is known that there are only 10 Demon Saints in the Heavenly Court, with status only beneath Tai and Emperor Jun. Once bestowed the title of Demon Saint, one would enjoy the fortunes of the Demon Court, which claims nearly half of the primordial fortunes. Even a fraction of that would be immense. Especially Kuenpong, whose expression was extremely grim. In the past, Tai had only promised him the title of Demon Saint without mentioning shared resources. Now, to attract a junior, he offered conditions even more generous than those he had extended to Kuenpong. Was this not a slap in the face? After all, Kuenpong was a powerful being of quasi-saint level. In truth, this condition had been secretly agreed upon by Tai and Emperor Jun. They were not drawn to Lu Qing's current cultivation, but rather his potential and lineage, anticipating that he could achieve great luo upon transformation, attracting the accolades of the Tao. Given time, he would undoubtedly become an extraordinary quasi-saint, the pinnacle of strength within the Demon Court, representing a form of investment. Lu Qing was somewhat surprised by Tai's sudden recruitment, as the three purities and the two from the West would surely seek to establish sects for fortune, naturally requiring disciples. However, he soon realized this was reasonable. The war between the witch and demon races had already commenced, and the Demon Court needed to gather experts to contend with the formidable witch clan. Zenyuanzi, shall we give it a try? Hong Yun said, looking eagerly at Zenyuanzi. Zenyuanzi, I wonder how he will choose? The cold and aloof Mingi showed no inclination to participate. In fact, even if he wished to, it would be futile. On one side were the three purities, on the other were the two from the West, both disciples of saints. Even the Demon Court was a colossal entity he could not compare to, so he merely watched quietly. Sister, will you not intervene? As the great powers contended for Lu Qing, Fushi turned to Enwa. No, he has his own path to follow. I do not wish to interfere. Enwa remained impeccably cool, directly affirming Fushi's inquiry. Fushi said no more, feeling increasingly unable to fathom his sister. Esteemed friends, why not listen to Lu Qing's thoughts? At this juncture, the ever-kind Hong Yun, sensing the awkward atmosphere, spoke up. Indeed, the choice lies with Lu Qing. Let him decide. Tong Tian concurred with Hong Yun's sentiment. Thus, all the great powers turned their gaze to Lu Qing. Eager to see how he would choose, Lu Qing expressed his gratitude for the kindness of the esteemed seniors, feeling a sense of trepidation within. In truth, Lu Qing had already made his choice. However, before proceeding, he requested to do one thing, for without it, he would feel uneasy. With sincerity in his words and clarity in his gaze, Lu Qing unwittingly won the trust of those around him. Even as he spoke with utmost gravity, to the astonishment of all the great powers, Lu Qing slowly approached Enwa, producing a golden gourd and said, earlier, Senior Enwa bestowed protection upon me. I possess nothing of value. I offer this humble gift to express my gratitude. It was one of the 7 innate gourds, and it remained intact. He was actually giving it to Enwa willingly. The crowd was astonished. Innate spiritual treasures were rare in the primordial world, especially this golden gourd, which shone brightest among the 7 and seemed to be the leader of them all. Very well. I shall accept it. Enwa gazed at Lu Qing, her beautiful eyes flickering with an inscrutable expression, but she was not pretentious, gracefully accepting the gourd with a wave of her hand. A faint smile appeared on her usually cold visage upon inspecting the gourd. Seeing Enwa accept the golden innate gourd, Lu Qing then approached the three purities, saying, the three esteemed seniors, Tai Qing, Yuqing, and Shangqing, have also shown me protection. I offer this item as a token of my appreciation. I hope the 3 seniors will not find it lacking. What a good child. Observing Lu Qing's sincere demeanor and innocent gaze, Tong Tian, Yuanshi, and Laozi felt increasingly fond of this junior. Such a grateful person is indeed rare in the primordial realm. Very well. Since this is your heartfelt intention, we shall accept it. Laozi, with a benevolent expression, waved his hand to receive the purple gourd, while Yuanshi accepted the green gourd, and Tong Tian took the blue gourd. Lu Qing bowed to the 3 purities, then approached the ancestor Hong Yun, presenting a red gourd as he said, "Earlier, a villain sought to harm me, and I am deeply grateful to Senior Hong Yun for your righteous words. This humble gift is my token of appreciation. Please accept it. It was merely a small effort. There is no need to take it to heart, Dutto. This item indeed resonates with me." Hong Yun initially intended to refuse but found that this red gourd seemed destined for him. As if it was meant to be his, after some contemplation, he accepted it. Humph! What a scheming little junior, daring to insult me so. On the other side, Kuanping's countenance darkened. Lu Qing's subtle mockery of him as a villain in front of so many was infuriating. If not for the presence of other powerful beings, he would have struck this junior down immediately. Chapter 4. Seeking the 3 purities as a master Jane and Juenti, I admire your great compassion. I present this item to both of you, hoping it can contribute to the revival of the West. Liu Qing produced the remaining 2 gourds. Very well, you are indeed someone destined to be with us in the West. We shall accept this item. Smile of delight appeared on Juenti's face. He had initially thought the innate gourds would have no share for them, especially as they had not spoken up for Lu Qing at the onset. This child is truly kind-hearted. Laozi stroked his beard, feeling deeply satisfied with Lu Qing's actions. Indeed, this child has only just transformed and possesses nothing, yet he unhesitatingly offers all 7 of his innate gourds to others, clearly demonstrating his pure character and sense of loyalty. Yuanshi concurred. Brother, this child must be accepted. He cannot fall into the hands of others. Tong Tian spoke firmly, casting an unfriendly glance at Jane and Juenti. Excellent. Yuanshi and Laozi nodded slightly, indicating their agreement with Tong Tian's words. With the gourds now fully distributed as planned, Lu Qing felt a sense of assurance. The distribution of the 7 gourds had been a decision he had made long ago. To outsiders, it appeared as an act of reciprocity, but in truth, it was not entirely so. As the saying goes, having a precious gem brings trouble. While innate gourds are valuable, without matching strength, they are merely death warrants. Moreover, can an innate spiritual treasure compare to the goodwill of future saints? The 3 purities, Jane, Juenti, and Inwa are all future saints, and forming good relations with them means securing several robust protective charms for the future. This transaction is one that anyone can discern is wise. A person destined for greatness must understand the timing and how to choose wisely. What are 7 innate spiritual treasures compared to the strength of a single ally? Young friend Lu Qing, have you considered whether you will join our Western sect to enjoy the supreme Tao? It must be said that Juenti placed great importance on Lu Qing, just as matters were settled on his side. He spoke again. Yet before Lu Qing could respond, Tong Tian interjected, Lu Qing, do you wish to join my sect? I assure you, I will protect you. As long as I endure, so shall you. What a grand spirit from Taoist Tong Tian. The crowd exchanged knowing glances. Tong Tian may not have offered extravagant conditions, but his statement, as long as I endure, so shall you, was a heavy promise. Such words are rarely spoken lightly. They involve cause and effect, and if broken, could entangle one in karmic repercussions, even affecting their own path. This declaration clearly demonstrated Tong Tian's regard for Lu Qing. Tong Tian's gaze fixed upon Lu Qing, awaiting his response. Lu Qing appeared calm on the surface, yet inwardly he admired Tong Tian. Truly, he was a figure capable of challenging 4 saints for his disciples in the future. Just as Lu Qing was about to reply, he heard Yuanshi say, Lu Qing, joining my sect will ensure your longevity, free from karmic entanglements, and you shall not falter on your path. Yuanshi had always been aloof and proud. Aside from a few could catch his eye. His words carried weight, and the crowd was somewhat taken aback. Cough, second brother, Lu Qing was the one I noticed first. Tong Tian turned to Yuanshi, saying, Tong Tian, I am not competing with you for a disciple. It is simply that this child is fated to be with me. Though Tong Tian and Yuanshi were brothers, it seemed neither intended to relinquish the opportunity to recruit Lu Qing. This left Lu Qing in a predicament. Originally, one of the three purities was indeed his best choice. But now, regardless of whether he chose Yuanshi or Tongtian, it would inevitably create a rift with the other, a situation he wished to avoid. It is essential to remember that in the future, during the Fengshen calamity, these two would be the main players, and he could not afford to offend either. In truth, the three purities had not yet split, and their relationships remained relatively harmonious. However, as their cultivation deepened, subtle shifts in their perspectives had begun to emerge, perhaps even unbeknownst to themselves. Humph! A sycophantic junior. Let us see how you choose. Kuanping smirked coldly, observing Lu Qing's situation. In the face of this dilemma, Lu Qing remained unfazed as he addressed the three purities, saying, "Red flowers, white lotus, and green lotus leaves. The three purities are indeed one family. Esteemed seniors, in my heart, you are already one entity. Regardless of whether I pledge myself to one, it is equivalent to pledging to all three, with no distinction." Upon hearing this, all the great powers looked at Lu Qing in astonishment, surprised that he would utter such words. Red flowers, white lotus, and green lotus leaves. The three purities are indeed one family. Laozi, Tongtian, and Yuanshi repeated the phrase softly. They had all originated from the primordial deity Panga's essence and had never been apart since the moment they gained consciousness. Having shared countless years together, their bond was indeed profound. Lu Qing's words struck a chord with the three purities. Ha ha ha, what a marvelous saying, red flowers, white lotus, and green lotus leaves. The three purities are indeed one family. Well said. Tongtian laughed heartily, not hiding his delight. Yuanshi nodded repeatedly, fully endorsing Lu Qing's statement. Though Yuanshi and Tongtian occasionally disagreed, their bond had never wavered. Even Laozi, usually indifferent, wore a smile. As the eldest of the three purities, he was the most sensitive to the subtle changes between his two younger brothers, and Lu Qing's remarks resonated deeply with him. After a moment's contemplation, he addressed Lu Qing. Since you believe the three purities to be one, I shall take the lead. You may simultaneously pledge yourself to all three of us, inheriting our teachings. Do you consent? After speaking, Laozi glanced at Tongtian and Yuanshi, seemingly seeking their approval. I have no objections. Tongtian straightforwardly expressed his thoughts. Excellent. Yuanshi smiled and nodded, clearly in favor of Laozi's proposal. Disciple pays respects to master, second master, and third master. Lu Qing showed no hesitation as he performed a respectful bow to each of the three. In truth, this outcome was precisely what he had hoped for. The reason he had uttered those words was to avoid leaving any rifts due to his choice of master. Although the three purities were not petty individuals, any rift, once formed, could sow the seeds for future discord. Moreover, one strong ally is far superior to three weak ones. Good child. The expressions of the three purities radiated joy. They found this child increasingly satisfying. Not only did he possess profound fortunes, but he was also pure-hearted, kind, and grateful. Such a child is indeed rare in this primordial realm. Lu Qing felt a great sense of relief. Now he was backed by the strongest of allies. With the three purities as his support, he could rest assured for the time being, and many of his plans could now be set into motion. What a pity! We in the West have lost such a fine talent. Jane and Juanti wore expressions of regret. They had valued Lu Qing greatly and were willing to offer him the position of the Western sect's chief disciple. Yet ultimately, this promising junior fell into the hands of the three purities. This sycophantic junior possesses a remarkably deep mind. Kuanping, appearing calm on the surface, felt a twinge of wariness towards this newly transformed junior. His apprehension did not arise from Lu Qing's cultivation or background but from his cunning. If this child were to survive, he would undoubtedly achieve great things and become a prominent figure in the future. Hongyun, today you have formed such a good connection with this child. It is indeed a fortunate event. Zenyuanzi conveyed to Hongyun. Though, fellow Taoist Zenyuanzi, what do you mean by that? Although Hongyun recognized that Lu Qing was no ordinary being, he did not expect Zenyuanzi to hold him in such high regard. However, he did not think much of it. His earlier words were merely a reflection of his genuine heart and spontaneous action. Zenyuanzi, with his fan in hand, replied, "This child appears simple but is, in fact, exceptionally clever. From his act of gifting treasures to the subsequent verbal resolution of the dilemma, it is clear that he is no ordinary individual." Unlike Hongyun, Zenyuanzi was shrewd and experienced. He had observed Lu Qing's every action and word. Though Lu Qing seemed freshly transformed, he had demonstrated an understanding of all the great powers present. effortlessly enhancing their goodwill towards him with just a few words. By proactively presenting 7 and 8 gourds. He not only repaid a debt of gratitude, but also ensured that Inwa, Jane, and Juanti owed him a favor in return, garnering their favor in the process. Such tactics are undeniably astute. In facing the dilemma of choosing between Tongtian and Yuanshi, Lu Qing effortlessly diffused the situation with his phrase about the 3 purities being one family, ultimately becoming a disciple of all 3. This highlights his cleverness. It has been 5,000 years since Hongjuan's second sermon. Currently, the situation on the Honghuang continent is shifting dramatically. The demon court, led by Emperor Jun and Tai, is expanding rapidly, nearly unifying the heavens and advancing into the primordial land to conquer myriad races. Under the persuasion of Emperor Jun and Tai, figures like Fuxi, Bei's, and Kuanpeng have successively joined the demon court. As a result, the number of quasi-saint level experts within the demon court has exceeded 10, reaching a peak of power and ambition. However, due to the demon court's overwhelming ambitions and rapid expansion, conflicts with the Witch clan have become inevitable, occasionally erupting into skirmishes. While the demon court is powerful, the Witch clan is not to be underestimated. They are arguably the only force capable of standing against the demon court in the primordial realm. The Witch clan does not cultivate the mind but focuses solely on physical strength. Although their numbers may not match those of the demon clan, their ferocity and formidable physique make them a force to be reckoned with. Even instilling a sense of caution within the demon court. Chapter 5. The struggle of the Lich King to recuperate. It is said that the Witch clan is formed from the essence of the great deity Pangu, comprising 12 ancestral witches, known to the world as the 12 demon gods. They possess an unparalleled physical form, capable of devouring the heavens and the earth, manipulating the elements of wind, water, thunder, and lightning, and even moving mountains and filling seas. It is precisely because of these 12 ancestral witches that the Witch clan is able to stand toe-to-toe with the demon court at times. The bellicose Witch clan would even instigate conflict, showing no fear of the demon court. On this day, Tai and a group of demon saints were engaged in discussions when a demon general rushed in, visibly anxious, seemingly with urgent news. Noticing this, Tai frowned and inquired with displeasure, "What is the cause of such haste?" With profound cultivation and having long held a high position, Tai exuded an aura of unspoken authority that left the demon general hesitant to be disrespectful. Thus, he bowed and reporting to the heavenly emperor, "We have recently received your command to lead our forces to the primordial continent to subdue the myriad races. However, we did not expect a group of witches to suddenly appear, claiming that the primordial land belongs to the Witch clan and demanding that our demon court keep its hands to itself and not overstep boundaries. Consequently, a conflict erupted between our forces and the witches. Initially, we were gaining the upper hand, but unexpectedly, a witch claiming to be Zhu Rong appeared, resulting in the death of 10 of our demon generals and the near annihilation of our hundreds of thousands of troops." The demon general's voice quivered with emotion. "What? They dare to insult our demon court in such a manner?" Upon hearing this, Tai was immediately incensed, an overwhelming aura of terror emanating from him, causing those present to feel a sudden weight in the air. Since its establishment, the demon court had always been invincible. How could they suffer such a significant loss? "Convey my orders. Assemble the troops and follow me to the primordial land. I wish to see what capabilities the Witch clan possesses to dare challenge our demon court." Thus, on this day, Tai personally led the demon court's forces into the primordial realm. Under his command, the might of the demon court was unmatched, resulting in countless casualties among the witches, including several great witches. Faced with the massacre by the demon race, how could the Witch clan endure? Therefore, they dispatched several ancestral witches and dozens of great witches, engaging in a fierce battle against the demons, turning the primordial land into rivers of blood and mountains of corpses. Eventually, this conflict attracted the attention of the Dao ancestor, who proclaimed that before the third sermon, the witches and demons must cease hostilities, bringing the war to a temporary halt in the primordial realm. There stood a mountain known as Kunlun. As the saying goes, a mountain need not be high. It is known as a deity if it has immortals. This place serves as the Taoist sanctuary of the 3 pure ones. Since their transformation, the 3 have resided here. Originally, there were only 3 sanctuaries: the Taiching Sanctuary, the Yuqing Sanctuary, and the Shangqing Sanctuary. However, a new one has emerged, known as the Taichu Sanctuary, whose master is naturally Lu Qing, who returned with the 3 pure ones a millennium ago. The name was chosen by Lu Qing himself, as he felt it resonated with his essence. Such heavy calamity energy it appears that the calamity between the witches and demons has officially commenced. Above the Taichu sanctuary, Lu Qing, clad in white, gazed down upon the primordial continent, eye in his eyes. The sky above the continent was shrouded by a terrifying calamity energy. This energy was boundless and oppressive, imbued with a sense of slaughter. Though intangible and invisible to quasi-saint beings, Lu Qing was an exception, for he practiced the Infinite Calamity Sutra, which encompasses all, including calamity energy. Thus, although he was not a quasi-saint, he saw more clearly than anyone else. What is calamity energy? In Lu Qing's view, cultivators invade the mysteries of heaven and earth, seize the essence of the sun and moon, and plunder the resources of the world. As the number of living beings grows and conflicts arise, battles ensue, leading to the upheaval of mountains and rivers. This results in an imbalance between heaven and earth, intertwining boundless karmic retribution, thus forming calamity energy. While calamity energy may be something to be feared and avoided by any being, Lu Qing is different. As a practitioner of the Infinite Calamity Sutra, he can even absorb calamity energy, utilizing it to enhance his cultivation. It seems the time has come. With a resolute expression, Lu Qing decided to undertake an action he had contemplated for thousands of years, finally resolved on this day, to sever his own cultivation. However, this severance would not result in loss, but would instead transfer all his cultivation to his avatar, allowing the avatar to traverse the world while his true self would seclude in meditation, practicing the unimaginable Infinite Calamity Sutra, which leads directly to the Great Tao. The avatar would follow the traditional path of cultivation in the primordial realm, while the true self would embark on the path of the incomparably powerful infinite. This was Lu Qing's plan. Although it would not be difficult for Lu Qing, with his innate talent, to reach the quasi-saint level and even attain the pinnacle of quasi-saints, he had never doubted this. However, his ambitions extended far beyond mere quasi-sainthood. Though a quasi-saint may be a formidable being, they are not invincible. How many quasi-saints have fallen during the calamities of dragons and phoenixes? Even the likes of Tai, Dijuan, and the 12 ancestral witches ultimately met their demise, turning to ashes. Moreover, Lu Qing would not forget the scene he witnessed in the River of Time, a battlefield so terrifying that it still sends shivers down his spine. He could not predict whether such a battle would occur in the future, but he knew that only unmatched strength could overcome all, confronting every enemy and unraveling every causation. Thus, he must begin anew, cultivating the Infinite Calamity Sutra. Though it may not be the mainstream path of cultivation in the primordial realm, he was certain it was a scripture that leads directly to the Great Tao and could lead to sanctity. This may not be the same kind of saint as understood in the primordial realm, but it would certainly be a being of the same caliber, if not even more powerful. Furthermore, let us not forget, the Infinite Calamity Sutra transcends even the saintly path. It seems this child Lu Qing has not come to listen to my sermons for some time. I wonder what he has been up to lately? In the Shangqing Sanctuary, Tong Tian had just finished his meditation when he recalled Lu Qing. According to past timelines, Lu Qing should have long since arrived to listen to his teachings and pay his respects. Yet he realized he had not seen Lu Qing for a while. Thus, Tong Tian released his divine sense to ascertain what Lu Qing was up to. Upon peering, he was taken aback, almost teleporting to Lu Qing's sanctuary in an instant. Lu Qing, my disciple, what has happened? Where is your cultivation? Tong Tian looked at his disciple with disbelief and concern. For at that moment, Lu Qing's complexion was pale, his spirit listless, and his aura weak, resembling an ordinary mortal. Tong Tian could hardly believe this was his once handsome and charismatic disciple. Master, what brings you here? Lu Qing felt a pang of anxiety, for he had not disclosed his severance of cultivation to any of his 3 masters, as this was a matter of his secret and difficult to explain. Therefore, he had decided to act first and report later. He did not expect that just after severing his cultivation, Tong Tian would appear at his door. Lu Qing, my disciple, quickly tell me, what is the meaning of this? Did someone ruin your cultivation? Tong Tian was first filled with urgency and concern, then anger. Lu Qing was their precious disciple, the future heir to their Tao lineage. How could he not be anxious upon seeing his cultivation lost? Cough. Master need not worry. No one harmed me. It was I who severed my own cultivation, Lu Qing explained in a timid voice. What? You wicked child. I shall strike you. Tong Tian's furious voice echoed throughout Kunlun Mountain, startling both Laozi and Yuanshi, who were meditating. Master, Please save me. Faced with Tongtian's wrath, Lu Qing felt anxious and could only run while calling for help. Tongtian, what is the meaning of this? Such outbursts are unbecoming, indeed. Lu Qing's cry for help immediately bore fruit, as Yuanshi and Laozi appeared in Lu Qing's sanctuary, with Yuanshi speaking first. What is happening? Have you not considered what this child has done? Tongtian retorted to Yuan Liu Qing, my disciple. What have you done that has caused your third master? Yuanshi was about to inquire for clarity but was taken aback upon seeing Lu Qing's current state. His expression darkening. Liu Qing, what has happened? Where is your cultivation? Both Yuanshi and Laozi asked simultaneously, echoing Tongtian's previous words. Humph. This wicked child has severed his own cultivation. Tongtian forced himself to suppress his anger, fearing he might lose control and harm the child. What? You severed your own cultivation? Why would you do such a thing? Yuanshi was shocked by Lu Qing's actions. Even Laozi's expression twitched at the idea of self-severance, something they had never even heard of. Second brother, third brother, calm down. Lu Qing is not a reckless person. Let us hear his explanation. Laozi, as the eldest of the three pure ones, maintained a calm demeanor even in the face of such events. Masters, please do not be angry. There is a reason for my actions. Allow me to brew a pot of tea for the three of you, and then I shall explain, Lu Qing said with a smile. Taking his time to prepare tea for his masters, speak. If you cannot provide a satisfactory explanation, I shall strike you. Tongtian sipped the tea, finally calming down. Delightful. Reporting to the three masters, before my transformation, I was in deep slumber. And since my transformation, I have been cultivating too rapidly, lacking understanding of the laws and the Tao, and my mindset cannot keep pace with my cultivation. Hence, I decided to sever my cultivation and start anew to solidify my foundation, Lu Qing explained while pouring tea. I see. What you say is indeed true. You have only transformed for a mere 10,000 years, and your rapid advancement to the pinnacle of the human path has naturally limited your comprehension in various fields. Yuanshi nodded in understanding. Second master, you see clearly. It is indeed so, Lu Qing readily agreed. Upon hearing the reason, Tongtian's anger dissipated significantly, but he still remarked, if you wish to sever your cultivation and start anew, why not discuss it with us first? What if something goes wrong? Upon hearing this, Lu Qing felt a warmth in his heart. Through these thousands of years together, he had come to know that although Tongtian often resorted to striking at the slightest provocation, he was, in truth, warm-hearted and cared for him greatly. Generally, whenever Lu Qing desired something, Tongtian would rarely refuse. Indeed, self-severance of cultivation is no trivial matter. If anything were to go awry, it could endanger your life. If we were to guard you, at least your safety would be assured. Laozi added kindly, I regret causing the three masters concern. I feel a sense of guilt. Lu Qing expressed sincerely, displaying a remorseful demeanor. Lu Qing, my disciple, I do not blame you. You are still young, and many things are beyond your experience. In the future, you must discuss matters with us more often. Tongtian, seeing Lu Qing's apologetic expression, could not continue to scold him and instead offered words of comfort. I shall remember. Masters. Lu Qing rose and bowed deeply to the three. Good child. You have just severed your cultivation. Your body is still weak. I have some elixirs here. Take them to replenish your strength. After consuming them, come back to ask me for more, Laozi said, handing Lu Qing a gourd. Thank you, master. Lu Qing received the gourd and, upon opening it, was immediately greeted by a rich life force and the fragrance of medicinal herbs, lifting his spirits. This is the benefit of being cherished by all. This is the bounty of having powerful mentors. Lu Qing felt that choosing to be disciples of the three pure ones was indeed the wisest decision. Enjoying elixirs crafted by Laozi as casual snacks, a privilege he believed only he could have in the primordial realm. Chapter 6. The Infinite Calamity Sutra, Past, Present, Future. It is said that less than 1,000 years remain until the third sermon of the Tao ancestor, who stated that this sermon would address the path of the saints. What is a saint? One who does not fall into the abyss, who is neither born nor dies, existing alongside heaven and earth, observing the rise and fall of tides, the birth and demise of relations, gazing upon the past, present, and future, and transcending all living beings and things. As a result, nearly all quasi-saint beings in the primordial realm began their journey toward the Zhixiao Palace, eager to glimpse the mysteries of the saintly realm. But of course, there were exceptions. Among the 12 ancestral witches, only Huda set out, while the other 11 remained behind. It was not that they looked down upon the Dao ancestors' teachings, but rather that the witch clan was inherently unable to cultivate the primordial spirit, rendering such teachings seemingly futile. On Kunlun Mountain, within the Taichu sanctuary, a figure sat cross-legged upon a mat, enveloped in radiant seven-colored celestial light. His eyes closed, emanating a sanctity that rendered others unable to gaze directly upon him. This figure was none other than Lu Qing's true self. Ever since severing his cultivation, aside from visiting the three pure ones to listen to their teachings, he spent most of his time in meditation. In the first millennium, he progressed from a mortal to the pinnacle of human cultivation. In the second millennium, he advanced from the pinnacle of human cultivation to celestial immortality. In the third millennium, he ascended from celestial immortality to true immortality. In the fourth millennium, he transitioned from celestial immortality to profound immortality. Now, Lu Qing stood at the peak of profound immortality, poised to step into the realm of golden immortality. Such a speed of cultivation would be hard for anyone to believe. Even the three pure ones marveled at Lu Qing's talent. Who among the beings of the primordial realm does not take thousands or even tens of thousands of years for a mere retreat? In truth, this was due to the extreme difficulty of the Infinite Calamity Sutra. Otherwise, his speed would have far exceeded this. Uncertain of how much time had passed, Lu Qing finally stirred. Above his head blossomed three flowers of the great Tao, surrounded by five energies, forming a protective formation. It is well known that the gathering of three flowers at the crown and five energies returning to the source is a unique phenomenon of the golden immortality realm, marking that Lu Qing had finally stepped back into this realm after his severance and recultivation. This was the mainstream path of cultivation among the beings of the primordial realm, yet Lu Qing was different. The gathering of three flowers at the crown and five energies returning to the source was not the ultimate manifestation of his path. At this moment, his eyes remained closed, with one of the great Tao flowers merging into his true self, while the other two began to undergo transformation, subsequently forming two shadowy figures, shrouded in the powers of causation and time. Their faces obscured. One seemed to sit in the ancient past, while the other appeared to sit in the distant future, mysterious and ineffable. To comprehend past life causes, to resolve present uncertainties, to seize the path of the next life, transcending the ancient and the future. Is this my path? Lu Qing gazed at the two shadowy figures, surprised that the outcome of practicing the Infinite Calamity Sutra would manifest in such a manner. Taichu, come forth. With a gentle whisper from Lu Qing, a man clad in black emerged from within him. Even more astonishing was that this man bore an identical appearance to Lu Qing, though their auras were distinctly different. If Lu Qing represented the celestial, then this doppelganger embodied the divine. Taichu greets the true self. The black-clad man smiled, exuding an aura unmistakably belonging to a mid-stage golden immortal. Master, are you present? I have come to pay my respects, Lu Qing called out outside the Taichu sanctuary, patiently awaiting Laozi's response. After a moment, Lu Qing felt the scene shift in an instant, and when he regained his bearings, he found himself within the Taichu sanctuary, where Laozi sat cross-legged on a mat. Gazing at him with kindness, Lu Qing silently marveled at how his master's cultivation had grown even deeper, likely making him one of the closest beings to sainthood in the primordial realm. Ah, it is my disciple Lu Qing. It seems you have been diligent in your cultivation, having reached the golden immortal realm, Laozi said warmly. Thanks to the profound teachings of my masters, I have often listened to your discourses, which have inspired me to break through to this realm, Lu Qing replied, producing tea leaves he had prepared in advance to brew for Laozi. Indeed, humble and unassuming. You are quite commendable. Laozi was increasingly satisfied with his disciple, who was not only filial but also modest. My disciple, you have come at the right moment. My master and your two other masters are soon to head to the Zixiao Palace for teachings. If you have any questions regarding your cultivation, feel free to express them now, Laozi stated. Lu Qing's heart leapt with joy. The main event was finally at hand. The third sermon by Hongjun Daozu was of great significance, as Hongjun would bestow positions of sainthood, marking it as one of the most critical events in the history of the primordial realm. Master, I have no issues with my cultivation. However, since my transformation, I have yet to set foot on the primordial continent, wish to accompany my three masters to see the world, Lu Qing said, observing Laozi's expression as he spoke. Oh, you wish to join us in attending the Zixiao Palace? Laozi looked at Lu Qing in surprise, not expecting him to have such an intention. Precisely. I humbly request your approval, master, Lu Qing replied, sensing that Laozi had not immediately rejected him, giving him hope. After a moment of contemplation, Laozi responded, very well. Given your current cultivation, while you may not fully grasp the saintly teachings, you may still accompany us to broaden your horizons. Thank you, master. Lu Qing's face lit up with delight. You, child, came to my side first, fearing that Tongtian and Yuanshi would not agree. Did you? Laozi chuckled. Indeed, nothing escapes the keen eyes of the master. The disciple understands that the master has always been fond of him, which is why he has come to seek the master first. Lu Qing's gaze was clear, and with a composed demeanor, he offered a flattering remark. Rest assured, I shall take charge of this matter. Tomorrow, you shall set off with us, Laozi chuckled. Thus, Lu Qing, accompanied by the three pure ones, arrived at the Zixiao Palace. Hongjun's teachings, which were said to be for those fated to hear, were, in truth, meant for those with strength. After all, the Zixiao Palace lies beyond the 33 heavens, requiring one to traverse chaos. Accessible only to the great Luo golden immortals, is this truly the Zixiao Palace? So many people. It is indeed a grand event of the primordial era, Yu Qing observed, for this was the first time he encountered such a multitude of powerful beings. Merely outside the palace, numerous beings of the great Luo golden immortal realm were present. Look, the three pure ones have arrived. It was rumored that the three pure ones had achieved quasi-saint status tens of thousands of years ago. One could only wonder what level they had attained now. Their arrival immediately captured the attention of many beings. Although the three pure ones typically maintained a low profile, their names were still well known among the beings of the primordial era, causing the crowd to instinctively part a path. However, what piqued the curiosity of the crowd was the presence of a golden immortal accompanying the three pure ones, leading to speculation about Lu Qing's identity. Maintaining his composure, Lu Qing leisurely followed behind the three pure ones, unaffected by the scene, drawing approving nods from the three pure ones beside him. Before long, Lu Qing entered the Zixiao Palace with the three pure ones, where thousands awaited them, each exuding an intimidating aura indicative of profound cultivation. Greetings to the three fellow Taoists. The crowd, not daring to be negligent, greeted the three pure ones. They merely nodded in response, for their strength and status commanded respect, rendering any perceived rudeness inconceivable. Yu Qing noticed a vacant lotus seat at the central position of the palace, with 6 others beneath it, 3 of which were already occupied by familiar figures: Nuwa, Jane, and Juenti. Besides these 3, Lu Qing also recognized several others, including Dijuan, Tai, Zenyuanzi, Hongyun, Mingyi, and Fushi, though he was unfamiliar with the rest. Greetings to the 3 senior brothers. Greetings to the 3 fellow Taoists. After another round of pleasantries, the 3 pure ones took their seats on the front 3 lotus seats. Yu Qing noted that among the 6 seats, Laozi occupied the first, Yuanshi the second, and Tongtian the third. The woman seated in the 4th position was indeed Nuwa. Clad in snow-white robes, her hair cascading gracefully over her shoulders, her eyes gently closed as she sat cross-legged on the lotus seat. Her presence was strikingly unique amidst the surroundings, capturing Lu Qing's immediate attention. As for the 5th and 6th seats, they were naturally occupied by Jane and Juenti. Oh? He has come as well? Lu Qing's arrival did not go unnoticed by the assembled quasi-saints, their surprise evident. After all, those near the 6 lotus seats were renowned quasi-saints of the primordial era, making the appearance of a mere golden immortal an anomaly. Greetings to the 3 uncles. Yu Qing saluted the 3 uncles with a calm demeanor. Ah, so it is Lu Qing, my dear nephew. You are well. I did not expect you to come to the Zixiao Palace. Seeing Lu Qing's politeness, Juenti and Jan both wore smiles. Though Lu Qing had not joined their Western sect, it did not diminish their fondness for him. Grateful for the concern of the uncles, the disciple as well. Hearing of the grand event at the Zixiao Palace, I came to broaden my horizons. Lu Qing held no ill feelings towards Jane and Juenti for the moment. Despite their less favorable reputation, he believed that one should not judge solely by appearances. He wished to cultivate a good relationship with these future saints, hoping for unexpected benefits in the future. What is your cultivation level? At that moment, even the usually aloof Nuwa opened her eyes, her gaze resting on Lu Qing as if inquiring about his situation. Uncle need not worry. The disciple has severed and rebuilt his foundation due to instability, Lu Qing replied. For some reason, Lu Qing always felt an inexplicable familiarity with Nuwa, a feeling that had lingered since their first encounter. Yet he could not fathom its origin. I see. Nuwa's expression flickered with surprise as she nodded in acknowledgement before closing her beautiful eyes once more. Tio sever and rebuild. Such ambition, my nephew. It seems you harbor great aspirations, Jane praised. Ahem, uncle exaggerates, Lu Qing responded, feeling slightly embarrassed as the three pure ones nodded in agreement. A killing intent? Just then, Lu Qing sensed a fleeting killing intent that vanished almost instantly, but he was certain it was no illusion, as it was directed solely at him. Who could it be? Lu Qing's expression darkened. Since his transformation, he had never harbored enmity with anyone. The emergence of such murderous intent towards him was unexpected. Had it not been for his sensitivity to killing intent cultivated through the Wuyang Jiejing, he might not have noticed it at all. Just as Lu Qing was about to scan the surroundings to identify the source of the killing intent, he heard Tongtian's thunderous voice. Kuinpeng, are you seeking death? Tongtian's face bore a fierce expression as he fixed his gaze on a man clad in black among the crowd, seemingly ready to strike. Lu Qing recognized him at once. It was Kuinpeng, the same individual who had attempted to attack him at the foot of the Buzhou Mountain. In fact, not only Tongtian, but also Laozi, Yuanshi, Nuwa, and others cast unkind glances at Kuinpeng. What do you mean? How bold of you to openly harbor murderous intent towards my disciple in my presence. Do you take us for mere decorations? Tongtian did not hide his murderous intent, clearly indicating that Kuinpeng's fleeting killing intent had not escaped the perception of the three pure ones and others. So it is him. Upon hearing Tongtian's words, Lu Qing finally understood that the killing intent had come from Kuinpeng. Upon reflection, it made sense. If he were to consider who among those present he had unresolved grievances with, it could only be Kuinpeng. However, he had not anticipated Kuinpeng to be so petty, as it was Kuinpeng who had first entertained greedy thoughts, intending to sever his path, only to be scorned by the powerful beings present. Yet, Kuinpeng held Lu Qing responsible for it. Though Lu Qing appeared undisturbed on the surface, a surge of murderous intent welled up within him. Taoist Tongtian, your words seem rather overbearing, do they not? When have I ever harbored killing intent towards your disciple? Faced with the furious Tongtian and the gathering of powerful beings, Kuinpeng would naturally not admit to having inadvertently revealed his murderous intent. You lowly creature, where do you find the confidence to speak recklessly before us? Yuanshi, though lacking Tongtian's overt sharpness, possessed an even greater inner pride, dismissing Kuinpeng without a second thought. Yuanshi, we are both quasi-saints. Do not go too far. Whenever Yuanshi spoke, it seemed to destabilize Kuinpeng's resolve. You think too highly of yourself. Had it not been for today's teachings from the master, I would have ensured your demise. Tongtian's terrifying gaze remained fixed on Kuinpeng, making it clear that he genuinely harbored intentions of killing. Ahem, fellow Taoists, please calm your anger. Young Lu Qing is a disciple of several fellow Taoists, while Kuinpeng is a demon saint of my demon court. I believe this must be a misunderstanding. Why not give me a face and resolve this matter peacefully? Just then, Tai interjected. Tai truly wished to avoid this mess, but since Kuinpeng was a formal demon saint of the demon court, he could not simply turn a blind eye to the situation. Otherwise, who would dare join the demon court in the future? Moreover, Kuinpeng was a quasi-saint with formidable strength, essential for contending against the 12 ancestors of the witch clan, thus compelling Tai to speak up. Yet internally, he harbored resentment towards Kuinpeng for his unseemly behavior. Why would he harbor murderous intent towards a younger generation? Kuinpeng, I have never held enmity against you since my transformation, so I fail to understand why you would harbor such murderous intent towards me. Lu Qing spoke up, his clear eyes displaying an expression of confusion that would make anyone perceive him as innocent. Sigh. This child Lu Qing is simply too good-natured, thought the three pure ones, feeling a pang of sympathy. Kuinpeng, I must speak a word of justice. The transformation of young Lu Qing was due to your greed for his essence, wishing to sever his path. How innocent he is, why then must you harbor murderous intent against him? Lu Qing's words left Kuinpeng at a loss for a response. Just as he was in a difficult position, the amiable Hongyun ancestor stepped in to speak on Lu Qing's behalf, delivering a blow to Kuinpeng's pride. This Hongyun ancestor truly knows how to strike a nerve, Lu Qing thought, feeling a twinge of embarrassment at his own naivety. What? So it is true, Kuinpeng is indeed a prominent figure in the primordial era, yet his heart is so narrow. Unable to seize Lu Qing's essence, he even contemplates taking his life. After Hongyun's words, The 3,000 guests in the Zixiao Palace began to murmur among themselves, finally understanding the context of the situation. Chapter 7. Hongjuan's teachings, primordial purple qi. Suddenly, a mysterious and profound Tao rhythm filled the Zixiao Palace as a figure clad in gray appeared on the main seat, silencing the palace instantly. Salutations to the master. Salutations to the Tao ancestor. Salutations to the grandmaster. The crowd, including Lu Qing, did not dare to be negligent and bowed to the gray-clad Taoist. This was indeed Hongjun Tao ancestor? Lu Qing gazed curiously at the gray-clad figure. To him, Hongjun seemed ethereal, as if he existed in a different realm altogether. The mysterious and vast Tao rhythm emanating from Hongjun made Lu Qing feel as though he was not facing Hongjun, but rather the Tao itself. It was as if Hongjun embodied the Tao, and the Tao embodied Hongjun. At last, Lu Qing gained a preliminary understanding of the saints. They were transcendent beings existing in an entirely different dimension. And the phrase beneath the saints, all our ants, was not mere rhetoric. As the teachings began, this session would focus on the Tao of the saints. Upon completing his introduction, Hongjun cast a glance at the audience and directly commenced his third lecture. As Hongjun spoke, golden lotuses erupted from the ground of the Zixiao Palace, and strands of innate spiritual energy transformed into auspicious signs. The phenomena were extraordinary, and the Tao rhythm swirled around, with boundless laws permeating the surroundings. Truly enigmatic. During the first millennium, Lu Qing could largely comprehend the teachings, even gaining substantial insights as he progressed from early-stage golden immortal to mid-stage. However, during the subsequent millennium, he could only grasp a fraction of the content. By the third millennium, he felt as if he were listening to an inscrutable celestial text, exceedingly obscure and difficult to understand. This was not due to a lack of talent, but rather a consequence of his insufficient cultivation level. The path of the Tao held no shortcuts, requiring gradual enlightenment. In fact, Lu Qing was not alone. Most present struggled to fully understand, as if peering through a fog, attainable yet elusive. Only the three pure ones, Jane, Zhuanti, Nuwa, Zenyuanzi, Tai, Dijuan, and a few other quasi-saints could grasp the entirety of the teachings. Lu Qing surveyed the room, noticing that the 6 individuals, 3 pure ones, Jane, Zhuanti, and Nuwa, were deeply engrossed, occasionally radiating profound Tao rhythms, indicating they had entered a state of enlightenment. Particularly, Nuwa appeared to be enveloped by an immense force of laws, her entire being aglow, resembling a celestial being, radiating purity. Nuwa truly lived up to her title as the first to attain sainthood. Her depth unfathomable. Lu Qing then turned his gaze to Dijuan, Tai, Zenyuanzi, Kuanpeng, Mingyi, and others, observing that they too seemed entranced by the teachings, occasionally releasing fluctuations of law. This left Lu Qing awestruck, realizing that each of the quasi-saints in the primordial era was not to be underestimated. However, as he glanced at Kuanpeng, a fleeting glimmer of killing intent flashed in Lu Qing's eyes, unnoticed by anyone. When he spotted Hongyun, he lingered for a moment, noticing a dark cloud of calamity hovering above Hongyun's head. Lu Qing, having cultivated the Wuyang Jiejing, was particularly sensitive to such ominous signs. Lu Qing held a favorable view of Hongyun, appreciating his support both at the foot of Buzhou Mountain and earlier at the Zixiao Palace. Contemplating how he might save Hongyun, Lu Qing pondered how to navigate this impending crisis. Could she be Hutu? At that moment, a woman in the distance caught Lu Qing's attention. While the other quasi-saints were lost in their enlightenment, she appeared troubled and distracted. The woman had a delicate face framed by dark hair, her eyes gentle as water. Simply standing there, she exuded tranquility, as if her presence could quell any anger. Her unique aura set her apart from the other guests at the Zixiao Palace, compelling Lu Qing to notice her instantly. As Lu Qing focused on Hutu, she seemed to sense his gaze and casually turned her head towards him. What keen perception! Feeling slightly embarrassed for being caught observing, Lu Qing maintained a calm demeanor, nodding in acknowledgement to Hutu as a gesture of courtesy. Across from him, Hutu met Lu Qing's gaze and returned a slight nod. Although she found it curious why Lu Qing was looking at her, she believed in the saying, "Do not strike a smiling face," and her gentle nature prevented her from overreacting. Is there truly no way for my witch clan to cultivate the primordial spirit? Hutu sighed inwardly. During the last lecture, all 12 ancestors of the witch clan had been present, yet they left empty-handed due to their inability to cultivate the primordial spirit. This time, the other 11 ancestors refused to attend, insisting it would be futile, but Hutu insisted on coming, hoping to glean insights from the Tao ancestor on cultivating the primordial spirit. Unfortunately, she found herself disappointed once more, unable to comprehend the Tao ancestor's teachings. With no other option, she decided to leave early in the Zixiao Palace. 3,000 years passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, the Tao ancestor concluded his teachings, casting a glance at the powerful beings still immersed in their insights. Satisfied to see that everyone had gained something, he nodded slightly. After a while, the powerful beings awoke from their contemplations, revealing expressions of lingering desire for knowledge. Well then, the 3 lectures have concluded. Soon, I shall merge with the Tao. The calamity shall not manifest, and Hongjun shall not emerge. If any of you have questions, feel free to ask, Hongjun stated, observing that everyone had regained their senses. The Tao ancestor is merging with the Tao? The crowd expressed their astonishment. May I ask, Master, what does it mean to be a saint? Laozi rose and bowed to Hongjun, posing the question. In truth, everyone present was eager to know the answer to this question, and upon Laozi's inquiry, they focused intently, awaiting the Tao ancestor's response. With a neutral expression, the Tao ancestor took a moment before replying. A saint is undying and imperishable, untouched by karma, existing eternally with the heavens and in harmony with the Tao. Beneath the saints, all are but ants. Asked this what it means to be a saint. Is this the realm of the Tao ancestor? Upon hearing Hongjun's words, the crowd finally grasped what it meant to be a saint, as well as the unfathomable depth of the Tao ancestor. Each of them was a formidable presence in the primordial era, yet in the eyes of a saint, they were but mere insects. As they felt disheartened by their insignificance, hope surged within them, for they all aspired to attain sainthood. May I ask, Master, how does one achieve sainthood? Yuanchi rose to inquire. The crowd eagerly leaned in, straining to catch every word of the Tao ancestor's reply, fearing they might miss even a syllable. The Tao is vast and myriad, each path capable of leading to the Dao. As far as I know, there are 3 methods to attain sainthood. First, one may achieve the Tao through strength. This method requires breaking free from the shackles of the heavenly Tao, transcending beyond it. Throughout history, only the great Panga has accomplished this, albeit at the cost of his life. Hongjun spoke slowly and deliberately. May I inquire, esteemed teacher, what are the other 2 methods of attaining enlightenment? The guide, upon hearing this, responded, the second method involves severing the 3 corpses to achieve enlightenment, wherein one utilizes 3 innate spiritual treasures of the same origin as a vessel for their primordial spirit, thereby eliminating the 3 corpses of virtue, evil, and attachment. Once these 3 are unified, enlightenment is attained. This is the path I follow. As the words of the Tao ancestor resonated, the assembly fell into deep contemplation. The first method of enlightenment seemed insurmountably difficult, as even the great Pango had fallen. How could they hope to attain such a path? As for the second method, its challenges were equally formidable. It required 3 innate spiritual treasures of the same origin to serve as vessels for the 3 corpses. Given the scarcity of such treasures in the primordial world, how many could possess 3 such artifacts simultaneously? Many hearts grew